The results are in for the first horse in this class, horse number 2, J.A. Bushra Al Jazeera. For type, 19. For head and neck, 18 point... Oh, for type, 19, 18.5, 18, 18. For head and neck, 19, 18.5, 18, 18. For body and top line, 18, 18, 18, 17.5. For legs, 15.5, 15.5, 15 and 15.5. And for movement, 18.5. Shara Al Jazeera, owned by the Al Jazeera Arabian Horse Stud. The results for horse number 3, Reem Alia. For type, 18.5, 18.5, 18, 18. For head and neck, 18.5, 18, 17.5 and 18. For body and top line, 17.5, 17.5, 17.5 and 18. For legs, 16, 15.5, 15.5, 16. And for movement, 17.5, 18.5, 18 and 18. With a total score of 87.6 points for horse number 3, Reem Alia, owned by Zayed Saleh Al Hajri. The results for horse number 4, Masa Al Hawaja, owned by Dr. Ghanem bin Mohammed Al Hajri. For type, a unanimous score of 19. For head and neck, 19, 19, 19, 19.5. For body and top line, 17.5, 17.5, 18 and 18. For legs, 15.5, 16, 16 and 16. And for movement, 18, 18, 18.5, and 18.5, with a total score of 90 points for horse number 4, Masa Al Hawajer, owned by Dr. Ghanem bin Mohammed Al Hajri. There's been a correction to the results for horse number 3, Reem Alia, owned by Zayed Saleh Al Hajri. The amended score is 87.8 points. The results for horse number 5, G1 Albatin, owned by the Albatin Arabian Horse Stud. For type, 18.5, 18.5, 18, and 18. For head and neck, 18.5, 18, 18, and 18. For body and top line, 17.5, 17.5, 17, and 17.5. And for legs, 16, 16, 15.5, and 16. And for movement, 17.5, 18, 18, and 18, with a total score of 87.5 points for horse number 5, G1 Albatin, owned by the Albatin Arabian Horse Stud. The results for horse number 10, Rawa Al-Bustan, owned by the Al-Bustan Stables. For type, 19.5, 19, 19, 19.5. For head and neck, 19.5, 19, 19.5, and 19. For body and top line, 18, 18, 18, and 18.5. For legs, a unanimous score of 15.5. And for movement, 18, 18.5, 18.5, and 18, with a total score of 90.4 points for horse number 10, Rawa Al-Bustan, owned by the Al-Bustan Stables. results for horse number 7, Dora Al-Batin, owned by Ahmed Rashid Al-Mahari. For type, a unanimous score of 18. For head and neck, 18, 18, 17.5 and 18. For body and top line, 18, 17.5, 17.5 and 18. For legs, 15.5, 15.5, 15 and 15. And for movement, 18, 18, 18 and 17.5. With a total score of 86.8 points for horse number 7, owned by Ahmed Rashid Al-Mahari. The results for horse number 8, Zaha Al-Hawaja, owned by Mohammed Ghanem Al-Hajri. For type, 19, 19, 19 and 19. For head and neck, a unanimous score of 19. For body and top line, a unanimous score of 18. For legs, a unanimous score of 16. And for movement, 18.5, 19, 19 and 18.5, with a total score of 90.8 points for horse number 8, owned by Mohammed bin Ghanem Al-Hajri. The results for horse number 11, Jalila, owned by Yusuf Muhammad Al-Rashid. For type, a unanimous score of 18. For head and neck, a unanimous score of 18. For body and top line, 17.5, 17.5, 17.5 and 18. For legs, 16, 15.5, 15.5 and 16. And for movement, 17.5, 18, 17.5 and 17.5. With a total score of 87 points, for horse number 11, Jalila, owned by Yusuf bin Hamad Al-Rashid. The results for horse number 12, R.A. Ghalia, owned by Mohammed Saif Al-Hibsi. For type, 18.5, 18, 18 and 18.5. For head and neck, 18.5, 17.5, 18 and 18. For body and top line, 17.5, 17.5, 17.5 and 18. For legs, 16, 15.5, 16 and 16. And for movement, 18.5, 18.5, 18 and 18.5. With a total score of 88.1 points for horse number 12, R.A. Ghalia, owned by Mohammed Saif Al-Hibsi. The results for horse number 13. For type, 19.5, 19, 19.5, 19.5. For head and neck, a unanimous score of 19. For body and top line, a unanimous score of 18. For legs, 16, 16, 15.5 and 15.5. And for movement, a unanimous score of 18.5, with a total score of 90.6 points for horse number 13, Sarah BHM, owned by Ali bin Ghanem Al-Mazrui. The results for horse number 14, Mahrat Al-Rahba, owned by the Al-Rahba Arabian horse stud. For type, 18.5, 18.5, 18 and 18. For head and neck, 18, 18.5, 17.5 and 18. For body and top line, 18, 17.5, 17.5 and 18. For legs, 16, 16, 15.5, 15.5. And for movement, 18, 18.5, 18 and 18. With a total score of 87.9 points for horse number 14, Mahrat Al-Rahba, owned by the Al-Rahba Arabian horse stud. And the results for the last horse in this class, horse number 15, D Mumayyiza, owned by the Dubai Arabian Horse Stud. For type, a unanimous score of 19.5. For head and neck, a unanimous score of 19.5. For body and top line, a unanimous score of 18. For legs, a unanimous score of 16. And for movement, a unanimous score of 19 with a total score of 92 points for horse number 15, D Mumayyiza, owned by the Dubai Arabian Horse Stud. And the winner for the first class this afternoon is horse number 15, D Mumayyiza, with a total score of 92 points for the Dubai Arabian Horse Stud. In second place, Zuhat Al-Hawaja, with a total score of 90.8 points, owned by Mohammed Ghanem Al-Hajri. In third place, horse number 13, Sara BHM, owned by Ali Ghanem Al-Mazrui, with a total score of 90.6 points. In fourth place, horse number 10, Rawat Al-Bastan, owned by the Al-Bastan Stables, with a total score of 90.4 points. And in fifth place, horse number 4, Masa Al-Hawaja, owned by Dr. Ghanem bin Mohammed Al-Hajri, with a total score of 90 points.